All right, a disappointing way to lose a game. Got to find a way to offense to score one more time. Defense, we got to be better. The crowd much appreciated of how they showed up because they did a great job and had brought great energy. And for us to let that game slip away the way we did, unacceptable. And we got to get this stuff cleaned up fast. With that, I'll open it up with questions.
David Weir, 24/7 Sports. Dow, the passing game wasn't nearly as productive in the second half as it was in the first. Did Coastal do anything coverage-wise that changed the way you guys attacked it?
No, I think it was more of the injuries on the offensive line, to be completely honest, that changed it.
Coastal had 5 explosive plays today, which is not kind of really their standard. What were some of the things they were doing offensively that were creating that dynamic?
I think they outstrained us. I thought they outworked us up front. We got to be better. We got to be better with block disengagement. We got to tackle better. We let too many things go like that, and there was a chance to, we just go. It's a shootout in the first half, and the second half, the whole time it felt like, hey, whoever gets the ball last is going to win the football game, and that's why we were probably more aggressive on special teams as well, because I felt that, I sensed that they were going to be able to do what they needed to do on offense to continue to create points, and we came up short and got to be better.
Was it that feeling when you guys had the fourth down kind of backed up in your end of the field that you went ahead and went for that fourth down instead of kicking it out there? Did you just feel like, hey, if we give the ball back to them, I'm afraid we'll never see it again?
Yeah, 100%. It was at that point, it's a gut feel of how the game's going, and it's whatever it was at that point, 38, 37, or 40, whatever the score was at that moment. I didn't feel good about where we were at on defense in that moment, and I thought that our best chance, even with a banged-up offensive line, was to let the offense try to go get it first.
Did you think at all about going for it on the 4th and 4 down at the goal line instead of kicking the field goal?
Yeah, we thought about it. We had 3 shots in there, and you don't get them. You drop a ball right there that would have been a walk-in and should have been a touchdown. And at that point, it's the momentum of, like, hey, put points on the board versus go down there and stall out and not have anything to show for it. It was a chance, go up 6 right there. So
it isn't often that you see a team offensively that exploits App's defense with their speed. Did that surprise you at all today? Just how that they were able to get into open spaces and move the ball so effectively against your defense?
I think it was still more about us not getting off blocks and missed tackles.
Jacob Pearsall, AWN. There were a lot of question marks around this Coastal offense, especially in that QB department, and the quarterback Hudson was listed as out last second. How did you guys game plan for that, not exactly knowing who the QB would be?
We game planned for Hudson to be out. Like, when he was that late and you're going through the injury report, we expected the guy who played to play.
Hey, Coach, Trey Blake with the Appalachian. Jakari was in the game rather than Rashad at the end. How has he put himself in a position for you to trust him at the end of these games?
Well, Dub was banged up too, so that was why he was in there. But we do believe in Trig, and the reason we do is because of the way he's playing really well, and he's helping us win games and compete and do things to move the football. And I was pleased with his effort. I think he's gotten better every week, and that's what this whole thing's about, is just continue to get better, which he's done.
Parker Eklund with the Appalachian. Coach, tough loss today, but 2 big plays on special teams, the fake punt and then the punt return. What did you see on that end?
Yeah, I was pleased, and we went in to be aggressive. We had a couple more fakes ready. And our plan was to call that when we needed it, and we executed it really well. We kind of tweaked it a little bit, going back and forth with it, and it's goes back to, I think, when I was at Arkansas in 2006, we ran a play like that against Auburn, and we tweaked it throughout the week and felt good about it. And Juan Burchell's been such a good player for us, and I have so much faith in him doing those things, and tried to unload the clip a little bit and tried the reverse on the kickoff return just to create momentum and create juice. Anyway, we were going to empty the clip any way we could.
With regard to Collier, there really wasn't much of a scouting report on him, and I'm not sure last week's game was a good indicator given the weather at Coastal. Did he surprise you guys with anything you saw from him today?
No, I think when you go back and look at it, it's going to fall back on us not tackling well. And it's going to fall back on us on them straining on offense a little bit harder than we straightened on defense. Like it was zone read. It wasn't anything special. Like they created some space and ran zone read, and there was too many leaky yards in between the tackles. Like this came down to blocking and tackling on defense, and we didn't do a good enough job. It wasn't anything. I wish I could sit there and say, hey, schematically they created some issues for us. We got to get calls in faster. We got our defensive line set. We got to do a better job with getting off blocks and tackling.
Any last questions, Coach? Okay, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
JJ's second half seemed like they got a lot more pressure into the pocket. Anything in particular? Did they change anything? Did the blitzes change at all? Did you see anything that you said, yes, something different's going on?
Yeah. First off, obviously it didn't go how we were wanting it to. And I just want to thank God for the opportunity to go out there and play today. Just want to give him all the glory, all the praise in wins and losses. But to answer your question, they did start to bring some more pressure. They mixed things up a little bit, and to their credit, we struggled a little bit in the second half to move the ball, and and that starts with me making good decisions. I felt like there was a couple plays I really went back in that second half, and it's unfortunate that the game ended the way it did. But yeah, they did start to bring some more pressure in the second half, and I take full responsibility for how this game ended. I felt like just needed to make more plays, and at the end of the day, they made more plays than us.
First half, very accurate passing. There were a lot of high percentage throws you were able to make. Did they start changing stuff on the back end to maybe take some of those things, the crossing routes across the middle, some of the things that worked early away from you?
Yeah, I think too, just with the fact that they did change up some things in the second half, just bringing more pressure, I got to get the ball out quicker. So some of those longer developing plays just don't have as much time for them.
As you move forward, you're the leader of this offense right now. You're banged up. Rashad was out towards the end.
Yep.
You had a couple of offensive linemen get carted off, which is always tough to see. For you being the voice of that unit, how do you move forward with that and help the guys kind of, hey, we got to work through this and move forward?
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about football is the team game, and there's a lot of seniors, on this team that I know are going to help lead, and I think we just got to really unite as a group. We got to come together. We got to realize what happened, and we got to learn from our mistakes. A failure is only a mistake if you don't learn from it. So we have to learn from it, correct it, and then move forward. We don't have time to look back. We already got a big game next week, so we got to learn from this, and we got to grow so that it doesn't happen again.
Jacob Pearsall, AWN. You ended the game with 9 rushes on the day. Was it part of the game plan to get you to use your legs more, or was that more of you in that split-second decision using your legs to get away from the pressure in the pocket?
No, that was just more of the split-second decisions. The way that defense is structured, it's kind of hard to throw the ball, when they're dropping 8 every time. So they took some things away where I just used my feet.
JJ, Trey Blake with the Appalachian. You and Davion kind of came in to the offense at the same time, 8 targets for him today. How are you guys kind of linking up in the game?
Yeah, I think it's just a trust factor, and it starts with practice. Seeing him make plays in practice, I feel comfortable. If we can do it in practice, we can do it in a game. So I think just getting the reps in practice and, routes on air, even in team and practice, I think just we've accumulated a lot of reps in practice where we've connected, and I think that helps build our connection out there on the field during game day.
Anything else for JJ? All right, thank you.
Elijah, on that interception you had at the end of the first half, first part of the question, were you surprised that they took that shot? Because I sure was. And then in follow-up to that, talk a little bit about never letting your guard down, because I think it would have been easy to have gotten caught flat-footed there.
Yeah. First thing first, I wasn't surprised at all. But, in the situation, it was a 2-minute situation, going to the half. So I know that the quarterback, he was he was trying to double dip in a way, score at least, and then score again in the second half. So I knew for sure, he was trying to find a way to, drive the ball up the field. So, I wasn't surprised at all for real.
Was Collier a tough scout? I mean, you guys got to see some film of him last week, but that's really the first time he's played any significant snaps. And the weather that was going on in Coastal, it didn't seem like it really maybe gave an accurate picture of who he is. Did he do anything today that caught you guys off guard at all?
Yeah, just well, not really, because fun fact, he was my roommate at Illinois. Yeah, so I knew I knew him personally, of course. So I knew exactly, what he liked to do, or what he wanted to do. But for me, it wasn't a surprise. But for us, it was, just a bit, because we didn't expect a QB run game as much until today it happened. So those are things that we got to be ready for and as well fix.
Talking about being prepped for him, he wasn't terribly accurate in the first half, but he ended up completing 9 of his last 10 passes in the game. Did they change anything schematically they were doing? Did the route packages change? Were they asking him maybe to make some throws that were a little more high percentage as the game went on?
No, not really. It was just more of a, he just took a shot and then he made it. So it was just really a tough catch as well too. On top of that, and then just plus just running the ball as well. So just being focused on just stopping the run and as well try to cover the pass as well. So those are things that was like kind of like difficult for us to do.
You're a veteran here, a leadership voice that you carry into the locker room. What has to happen defensively, to come out of this and turn right back around and go against another really tough offensive team next week?
Just really just clean up on tackle for sure. That's the main thing. Just being professional and as well just knowing how to clean up on tackles. That's really it.
Jacob Pearsall, AWN. Felt like Coastal really ran the football early and often, and there were a lot of scenarios where App State might have met them at the line but weren't able to bring them down. Would you say that was due to the scouting and maybe not knowing exactly what they were going to do, or was it more of an execution thing?
More of an execution as well. It kind of take a lot of practice for you to execute perfect. So that was the main point for us. Just kind of getting the ball down and then, and as well just tackling and as well executing the right way.
And quarterbacks last year that were mobile did a really good job against the App State defense. How do you guys plan to cap those guys off and stop them from making big plays in the rushing game?
Just having a scheme against it, of course, and that's the only way to stop it. So.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Appreciate y'all.